So you got the Ace of Wands today, and the Ace is always about beginnings or something new starting. And then the Wands can symbolize creativity or new ideas or passions. So it's kind of like you have this explosive creativity that's like flowing out of you, or like these new ideas where you kind of want to do something, but it's something that you want to do and something that you're good at. I pre-shuffled this card and it says facing Saturn. It says a lesson from the universe, withdrawal, discipline, and hard work. So although this card is kind of symbolizing like a lesson, I kind of see this more as like past energy than I do present energy. So it's kind of like you learned all the lessons. You kind of are more aligned. I'll just pull this card here. You're more aligned with yourself. And it's kind of interesting because you see colors here, and the rest of the card is kind of gray. But then with the Ace of Wands, it's like an explosion of colors. So it's kind of like you got out of this mindset of having to constantly learn lessons, and you kind of moved on from that. So let's pull a few cards from a different deck to get more information about this. Okay, so you got two cards that kind of fell out here. The first one is the Crumbling. It says, what are you clinging on to? This is more of like the Tower in tarot. So the Tower is a card where like change is necessary and it's going to happen regardless if you want it or not. And that change is like happening now. But again, with this energy, I'm not seeing that you're doing this now. I'm seeing that this is what basically happened. I think this was the tough lesson for you from the universe and all the hard work and discipline that you have to learn. But like I mentioned, you kind of went through this. So this isn't really something that is happening. It's more of like the past. And you got soul family. It says call in your tribe. You don't have to do it all alone. So basically, you learn to trust your guides. You learn to kind of trust the people that are actually there for you. You learn to basically align yourself more into positivity, align yourself more into what's actually good for you. And this is a really, like wonderful thing for you because you basically learned all the hard stuff. So things should be easier. But let's pull in a few more cards here. Now you got the card Mirror. It says who or what is triggering you. So I think you had to learn something based off of what was happening. So maybe a situation was triggering you, maybe a person was triggering you, and you basically just found yourself being negative towards them or the situation more than you should have been, because maybe it wasn't their fault. In reality, it was always trauma or a bad experience that you had from the past that just kept resurfacing because you never dealt with it. You kind of like locked it away in a chest, and all of a sudden this huge explosion happened and all these emotions and all these feelings kind of came out, and you did what was safest for you, and it was to kind of blame someone else for it. So let's pull a few more cards here. And then you got Keepers of the Earth that says you are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. So with the help of your guides, I think they kind of, let you be aware of this, that something was happening here. And you basically decided to make things right, kind of heal what you needed to heal, so that this wouldn't affect you anymore in the future. Let's pull another. Okay, so this one kind of fell out immediately. It says Council of Light, Divine Orchestration, Helpers, and the Subtle Realms. So Divine Orchestration kind of stands out because I don't know if you notice here, but there's like a lot of like deities and all these really high figures here in this image. And then Divine Orchestration kind of talks about how they kind of made this happen. They created this situation or this feeling for you to know that you haven't really fully healed. And they made that so that you could be aware of that, so that you can actually heal. because it was affecting your relationships. And I think this is what this moment here was. Maybe it was like an aha, like, oh, I get it now. I see what the problem was the whole time when I was kind of blind to it before. Well, let's pull a closing card here. Then you got Mintalkin. It says longing for home, belonging, the original light workers. So maybe this was a preparation for you. This whole situation was a preparation for you to be a light worker. It doesn't necessarily have to be for everyone, but you could also be a Mintalkin starseed, which is a thing. But for everyone else, it's just basically longing for home. I see this more as like a metaphor for you going back to the best version of yourself. You moving into a place that's more positive for you and that was better for you. Because what you were before, or where you were before, I guess in this metaphor, uh, it wasn't really your place and you wanted to go home. You wanted to be more true to yourself. You wanted to be healed, more positive, everything of that nature. And at the bottom of the deck here, we have the initiation, rite of passage, and crossing the threshold. So it's kind of reminds me of the tower card that you kind of got here, where things kind of fell apart. But that situation was a good thing for you. If you notice here, the cards, like this environment is so dark. That's where you were. And then the towers kind of fell to move you into all of like this color. There's so many cards here and like metaphors for like the darkness being the negativity and the colors being the positivity. I guess this reading wasn't really giving you any suggestions. It was more so to say that you went through the right thing. And now that you're more healed, good job because you're more aligned, way more than you were before. So that is it for you. I hope this reading was a little bit informative. But thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to follow, like, and comment, and I'll see you in the next one.